You're listening to the condensed edition of The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Introduction. Before the manuscript of The Power of Positive Thinking was delivered to the publishers, Mrs. Peale and I sat in our living room reviewing the years of preparation and writing of this book. There were many prayers for guidance during that period. Many times I felt the message of the book was given to me by inspiration. For as I wrote, I always struggled to understand the needs of people. Now, in this book's 40th anniversary, the publishers tell me it has been translated into 40 languages and sold more than 20 million copies, and the message of the book is being put in audio and video cassettes. One of the greatest satisfactions to me has been the continuing response to the book from young people. As I've often written, positive thinking grew out of my own personal necessity. For as a boy, I was inordinately shy and bashful. Therefore, I'm excited that the Center for Positive Thinking opened in 1987 to explore new ways to communicate these truths, is releasing this condensation as its first national project. This condensation was prepared for us by Rick, a top editor of Reader's Digest. It retains the techniques and examples from the original text which demonstrate that you do not need to be defeated by anything. You can have peace of mind, improved health, and a never-ceasing flow of energy. In short, your life can be full of joy and satisfaction. The concept of positive thinking has literally permeated our culture. It is a philosophy and an expression of faith that does not ignore life problems, but rather explains a tough-minded, practical approach to life's full potential. It is a system of creative living based on spiritual techniques, and its operation is demonstrated in the lives of thousands of people. These principles have worked so efficiently over so many years that they are now firmly established as documented truth. We offer this condensed edition to everyone because these are timeless truths that will work today and tomorrow. The powerful principles contained herein are given to us by the greatest teacher who ever lived, still lives. This book teaches a simple yet scientific system of practical techniques for successful living that works. Chapter 1. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. But with self-confidence, you can succeed. A sense of inadequacy interferes with the attainment of your hopes, but self-confidence leads to self-realization and achievement. Because of the importance of this mental attitude, this book will help you believe in yourself and release your inner powers. An appalling number of people are made miserable by an inferiority complex, but you need not suffer from this trouble. You can develop faith in yourself. After a convention, a man approached me and asked, "May I talk with you about a matter of desperate importance to me?" We went backstage and sat down. "I'm in town to handle the most important business deal of my life," he explained, "but I don't believe I can put it over. I am discouraged and depressed. In fact," he lamented, "I'm just about sunk. Why is it that all my life I have been tormented by inferiority feelings? I listened to your speech tonight about the power of positive thinking, and I want to ask how I can get some faith in myself." There are two steps. I replied, "First, it is important to discover why you have these feelings. That requires analysis and will take time and may require treatment. But to pull you through this immediate problem, I shall give you a formula. As you walk down the street tonight, repeat certain words I shall give you. Say them over several times before your important appointment. Do this with an attitude of faith, and you will receive ability to deal with this problem." Following is the affirmation I gave him. "I can do all things through Christ which strengthened me." Philippians 4:13. Now, follow that prescription and things will come out all right. He pulled himself up, stood quietly for a moment, then said with considerable feeling, "Okay, doctor, okay." I watched him square his shoulders and walked out. He seemed a pathetic figure. The way he carried himself showed that faith was already at work in his mind. Subsequently, he reported that the simple formula did wonders for him and added, "It seems incredible that a few words from the Bible could do so much." Of the various causes of inferiority feelings, not a few stem from childhood. I can illustrate the manner in which many youngsters acquire an inferiority complex through the use of a personal reference. As a small boy, I was painfully thin. I had lots of energy, was on a track team, was healthy and hard as nails, but thin. And that bothered me because I didn't want to be thin. I longed to be hard-boiled and tough and fat. I did everything to get fat. I drank cod liver oil, consumed vast numbers of milkshakes, chocolate sundaes, cakes and pies, but they did not affect me in the slightest. I stayed thin and lay awake nights thinking and agonizing about it. I kept on trying to get heavy until I was about 30, when all of a sudden I bulged at the seams. Then I became self-conscious because I was so fat, and finally had to take off 40 pounds with equal agony to get myself down to a respectable size. In the second place, practically every member of my family was a public speaker, and that was the last thing I wanted to be. They used to make me speak, even if it filled me with terror. I had to use every known device to develop confidence in what powers the good Lord gave me. I found the solution in the simple techniques of faith taught in the Bible. These principles are scientific and can heal any personality of inferiority feelings. Their use can release the powers which had been inhibited by a feeling of inadequacy. Such are some of the sources of the inferiority complex, which erect power barriers in our personalities. It is some emotional violence done to us in childhood, or the consequences of certain circumstances, or something we did to ourselves. This malady arises out of the misty past and the dim recesses of our personalities. Perhaps you had an older brother who was a brilliant student. He got A's in school, you made only C's, but you never heard the last of it. So you believed that he could never succeed in life as he could. He got A's and you got C's, so you reasoned that you were consigned to getting C's all your life. Apparently, you never realized that some of those who failed to get high grades in school have been the greatest successes outside of school. Just because somebody gets an A in college doesn't make him the greatest man in the United States, because his A's will stop when he gets his diploma. And the fellow who got C's in school will go on later to get a real A's in life. The greatest secret for eliminating the inferiority complex, which is another term for profound self doubt, is to fill your mind with faith. Develop tremendous faith in God, and that will give you realistic faith in yourself. The acquiring of dynamic faith is accomplished by prayer, by reading the Bible, and by practicing its faith techniques. Go to a competent spiritual advisor and let him teach you how to have faith. The ability to possess and utilize faith must be studied and practiced to gain perfection. To build up feelings of self-confidence, practice suggesting confidence concepts to your mind. It is possible, even in the midst of your daily work, to drive confident thoughts into consciousness. Let me tell you about one man who did so. While driving to a lecture engagement, he said, "I used to be filled with insecurities, but I hit upon a wonderful plan which knocked these feelings out of my mind, and now I live with confidence." This was the wonderful plan. He pointed to two clips fastened in the instrument panel of the car, and reaching into the glove compartment, took out a pack of cards. He selected one and slipped it beneath the clip. It read, "If ye have faith, nothing shall be impossible unto you." Matthew 17:20. He removed that one, selected another, and placed it under the clip. This one read, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" Romans 8:31. "I am a traveling salesman," he explained, "and I used to drive around between calls thinking fear and defeat thoughts. That is one reason my sales were down. But since I have been using these cards and committing the words to memory, the insecurities that used to haunt me are just about gone. Instead of thinking thoughts of defeat and ineffectiveness, I think thoughts of faith and courage. It is wonderful the way this method has changed me. It has helped in my business too." This man's plan is a wise one. By filling his mind with affirmations of God, he had put an end to his sense of insecurity. His potential powers were set free. Lack of self-confidence apparently is one of the great problems besetting people today. In a university, a survey was made of 600 students in psychology courses. The students were asked to state their most difficult personal problem. 75% listed lack of confidence. It can safely be assumed that the same large proportion is true of the population generally. Everywhere you encounter people who are inwardly afraid, who shrink from life, who suffer from a deep sense of inadequacy and insecurity, who doubt their own powers. Deep within themselves, they mistrust their ability to meet responsibilities and to grasp opportunities. Always they are beset by the vague and sinister fear that something is not going to be quite right. They do not believe that they have it in them to be what they want to be, and so they try to make themselves content with something less than that of which they are capable. Thousands upon thousands go crawling through life on their hands and knees, defeated and afraid. And in most cases, such frustration of power is unnecessary. The blows of life, the accumulation of difficulties, the multiplication of problems tend to sap energy and leave you spent and discouraged. In such a condition, the true status of your power is often obscured and appears and yields to discouragement that is not justified by the facts. It is vitally essential to reappraise your personality assets. Dr. Carl Menninger, the famous psychiatrist, once said, "Attitudes are more important than facts. Once again, attitudes are more important than facts. That is worth repeating until its truth grips you. Any fact facing us, even seemingly hopeless, is not as important as our attitude toward that fact. You may permit a fact to overwhelm you mentally before you start to deal with it. On the other hand, a confident thought pattern can modify or overcome the fact. So if you feel that you're defeated and have lost confidence in your ability to win, sit down, take a piece of paper, and make a list not of the factors that are against you, but those that are for you. If you, or I think constantly, of the forces that seem to be against us, they will assume a formidable strength they do not possess. But if you mentally visualize and affirm and reaffirm your assets, you will realize out of any difficulty. Your inner powers will reassert themselves and with the help of God, lift you to victory. A sure cure for lack of confidence is the thought that God is actually with you and helping you. This is one of the simplest teachings in religion, namely, that His Almighty God will see you through. No other idea is so powerful in developing self-confidence as this simple belief when practiced. To practice it, simply affirm, God is with me. God is helping me. God is guiding me. Spend several minutes each day visualizing His presence. Then practice believing that affirmation. Go about your business on the assumption that what you have affirmed and visualized is true. Affirm it, visualize it, believe it, and it will actualize itself. The release of power which this procedure stimulates will astonish you.